me
I'll
speak?
give you a full 6 minutes because I couldn't count.
That's okay. Five's fine. Well, thanks for letting me speak. I appreciate it. There are just a couple of things I want to point out, and probably more productive just to go to the question part because I really enjoy being able to engage on this issue. The constitutional amendment piece is very, very important here. Reforming drug laws can be done, certainly can be done. At the federal level is a good place to start with that. Doing it through a constitutional amendment is particularly scary, and it was just the wrong vehicle, because if we decide at any point that we've made any mistake inside of this legislation, and there's a lot of it, Josh can tell you how much, but there's quite a bit that's packed into this proposed amendment. If we decide at any point that we've made a mistake in that, like Amsterdam, who actually just revoked major parts inside of their policy, they now require residency. This does not require residency, so anyone can come in, purchase anything, leave, tourism, folks coming in from out of state, purchasing anything that they want, and then taking it out of state. So if we were to decide that that were a bad idea, just for example, the only way to then change it for us is through an additional constitutional amendment. So looking at changing some of these laws, great, fantastic. Personally, I think that it should start at the federal level, and that's an area that Josh and I don't disagree. Do it at the state, kind of force the feds to do it. That's an approach. But this constitutional amendment, we can't change things once we put this in there. And there are some big issues in there. The residency requirement certainly is one. While local municipalities can ban retail stores, they can't ban the individual from growing and possessing. So, yeah, we can ban retail, and there's plenty of communities that would be interested in doing that, but it's impossible for them to ban the up to 6 plants that anyone can be transporting at one time. There's no limit on what a person can be growing inside of a co-op with other folks. So the idea that we're going to really become the hub, the marijuana hub for America, is very realistic here, and that's something that we've got to ask ourselves if we want to do. Personally, it's not something I'm interested in, and Josh's story on getting into this with his friend, I got into this after working in substance abuse prevention and treatment for 6 years. And so mine's the other side. Only 1 in 6 adults who smoke marijuana end up developing an addiction to it. But my world has seen a lot of that, one. And it freaks me out a little bit to think that we could see more. It's the #1 substance that people under 21 are admitted to rehab for. Alcohol's got all sorts of issues. Yes, we realize this. It costs us a lot of money. It's done some harmful things inside of our society. I don't really see the logic in giving us another one of these. Last point, and then I'll go to questions. I don't need the whole 5. I'm happy to discuss this with you a little bit. To take this out of the hands of young people by putting it behind the counter just doesn't add up. And you guys have to follow me a little bit. Everybody kind of wants quick little sound bites inside of this sort of thing, but think about this with me. The drug dealers, and there are very few vocational drug dealers in the world. The last Freakonomic book, Super Freakonomics, has a really fun chapter called Why Drug Dealers Live at Home, and just about how little money drug dealers actually make when it comes down to it. But the guys who are making money doing this, the people who are paying their rent. So if we pull marijuana away from them, do we honestly think that these guys are going to go get a job at Wendy's now? Like, absolutely not. The black market that is there is now going to be forced to be directed entirely at everyone who can't walk in and purchase marijuana because they're under 21. So the entire black market that we have right now for marijuana, it really only makes sense that this then be directed to the youth. And something that, I mean, one of the few things that both sides of this issue will wholeheartedly agree on is that nobody should start smoking marijuana. Some people say 24, certainly 21 is safe, but if you start smoking before 21, there's some real issues, and there's plenty of data out there. I don't need to give you guys all that. So the idea that we're going to keep it out of the hands of young people by putting it behind the counter is just ridiculous. We will create an entire captive audience for folks who want to deal inside of that black market. And with the amount of marijuana that we'll have in the state, it's going to be pretty easy for kids to get weed. I've got 3 young kids, and 2 of them in elementary school, 1 of them starting next year, and it's a big deal to me to restrict access to young people. That's all I've got. I'm more than happy to answer questions alongside John.
So after